Hey guys, welcome to another video by Fitness Technology Services. So today I'm actually out on a service call and I'm just doing this video at the same time I'm running a service call. So I guess that's a pretty good reason to do a video. Customers allowing me to do it. I don't have one on a drive belt. So this is going to be on how to replace a sole elliptical drive belt. They are kind of all the same. Matter of fact, with a bunch of different manufacturers, removing the cover may be slightly different, but they're pretty much all the same, all right? So the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to remove all these screws that hold this cover on, all right? So then we also need to pop this off. Now some models vary differently. This, instead of being round, is kind of a rectangular piece, but it will still pop off. It won't really be a big deal on that. All right, so the next thing we're gonna need to do is remove these covers right here. So these are all Phillips. That's a Phillips. The only thing is, on the inside here, it's a little tricky because you gotta do it by hand, and you need a little short itty bitty Phillips, which is a killer for me because I like to do everything fast, 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 fast. But I'll just have to deal with it, all right? Come on now, no need to embarrass me in front of the TV. Well, first, you have to have the skills to get this stupid little screw out. Come on, baby. So this is normally super easy. Can't find the head on that Phillips head. I hope it's not wrong. Okay. Just couldn't find it. User error. We gotta remove this cover here. So I'm just gonna put that right here out of sight. It don't really matter. We're gonna need to remove this, and we're gonna need to remove this just like I have in just about every video that I've put out. Much better with a drill. All right, gonna put that cover there. Yeah, you guys can see that. It doesn't really matter where I put the cover too much. All right, so I am going to need a socket here. Let's see, maybe it's a 1/2 inch. And I can do it with what I have. Yeah, better off to do that with a 1/2 inch socket, but this will get me through. And the reason why you have to remove all these arms and everything is that's the only way to get into the inside here, all right? So we're going to remove that. Then we have to remove this here. Need something holding it on the other end, so give me 1 second. You're using adjustable on this side. Alright, so that was a 1/2 inch on both of these, and I'm just going to put all my screws in that little cap that I removed. Alright, so this comes out. Now you have to be careful when you take this apart. You don't want to lose this little sleeve right here, okay? Because then this won't fit in here tight. It'll make a lot of banging type noise. You'll see all that on my video, sole elliptical maintenance, but I figure since I got to take this off to get to the belt, I would just kind of go over it again. But you'll see all this done, once again, in my video, sole elliptical maintenance. All right, so you got 2 wave washers here. Try not to lose them. They're kind of good to keep around. I think this is a 1/2 inch, yeah. So we're going to loosen this up here. That actually feels a little smaller.
All right, that might be an 11 millimeter. Hang on 1 second while I find the right tool.
All right, so this ended up being a 1/2 inch. I just wasn't strong enough. I didn't feel confident enough. It seemed like there was a lot of play involved in that, but they're both 1/2 inch. But I used my socket and came off just fine, really. So we're just gonna loosen this. Actually, we're not. We're gonna take that off. Put my screws there so I don't lose them. All right, next thing we need to do is just kind of get this loose right here. Number 6, I think this is a number 6. I'll double check it real quick. Yeah, okay. So this is usually held on here pretty tight. This is the mounting bolt. This is just really this bolt right here. It's just kind of to keep it from falling off really, but this is what actually holds it in place. There's a number 6 Allen running through here that squeezes the two pieces together. So since I know I'm not that strong, it's usually fairly tight. And unfortunately, you can't get to that to use a socket on that. There's just not enough room. So this absolutely has to be done, unfortunately, by hand. All right, so that's pretty loose right there. Gonna give it a couple more turns. All right, no more than that, because then I gotta do that to put it back on. All right, so now we gotta remove this cover so that we can pull this off of here. So you've seen this in a lot of other videos. You gotta pop this up right here. Again, I've already removed the screws just because that's just a set pattern and they're all the same. It's the same screw, so really there's no set order, so you don't really have to worry about it. Then there's 3 screws along the bottom that you got to remove them too. So we're just going to take this cover off right here. And I'm just going to put it in my way, make sure that's going to be right where I need to get. So here is the belt. All right, so usually once this is slightly loosened, that will come off. All right, so what we're going to replace again is the drive belt in it. All right, so I'm going to put that over here like this. Don't want to lose this. Can you? Yeah, that's good. You can see that. So you don't want to lose this piece of keyway. I don't necessarily always take it out, but I'll take it out just in case it embarrasses me. And I don't want that. Right? Right. All right, so let's get this out the way. All right, so this is what we're going to replace. We have to loosen this up. This is the tensioner. This is a tensioner. These kind of are all different. Some of these are 13 threads showing. Some of these are 3 threads showing. I guess it's the model maybe. I'm not really sure if that's true, but I guess it's what they choose to do. All right, so on this particular one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So when I go to put it back, I want to put it back as close to 10 threads as possible. And I believe that this is a 1/2 inch also. So I'm just going to take a lot of tension off of this. All right, I should be able to work with that. It's a 1/2 inch also. Yep, it is good. So we got to loosen this up just a little bit so that the tensioner will move, because we're going to need, say the tensioner went all the way up after I did that. So this is now flexible. So the only thing that's really difficult about this is removing this nut here and on the other side. It's kind of awkward to get to. So to do that, you have to remove this screw here and kind of let this other cover flop over, I guess, for lack of professional words for that. Alright, so how much weight is that over? I might be able to reach it with that. Alright, hold on one second. I'm going to go over to the other side and loosen the same 3 screws over here so that the whole thing kind of flops open. So give me a second on that. It doesn't need to be taken off. I just need a little more space to get my hand in there. So I don't necessarily have any Muzak on hold for you. I'm just going to get to these bottom set of screws. And with those loose, it should be a little bit more room where I can get my hand in there. Okay, good. I am going to take this off. Anything. So I just removed that other little side piece. I can show you on the other side a little better. All right, I think I should be able to get to that. All right, so now I'm back over where you guys are. So this was the piece on the other side that I had to remove to be able to get to it, all right? Because you got to loosen up this one, and you got to loosen up this one over here to kind of slide the flywheel out. There might be enough slack on it now where I can physically just remove the actual belt itself. Yep, okay. So can you see that? Yeah, you can. So you want to make sure when you put it back that the belt goes over the tensioner right there, all right? And that really should be it, except for loosening this a little bit. So this gets kind of tricky. I don't want to use the word tricky, but I'm using the word tricky only because if you loosen it too much, then this nut over here just spins. So you have to loosen this just enough, and hopefully I won't get in your way and we can just envision what I'm doing. So I'm going over here and I'm loosening the same nut on the other side. Not going to take it all the way off, just going to loosen it. So this is the same procedures on replacing it. See, I got it so I can turn it by hand now. So then I'm going to come back over here because this side's easier to get to. Well, that worked out pretty good. I'm going to turn that by hand. So I did the corresponding nut on the other side. All right. So then we're just going to loosen this up a little bit because I got to get back to here. So I'm just going to move the flywheel out just enough to get the belt off. All right, belt is off. Replace the belt. This is the same belt number, 500J. $1270J. So it is an actual different belt number. So let's hope it fits, huh guys? All right, so I believe they're the same size. It just depends on where they come from. So we're just gonna put this right around here like that. And then you gotta kind of lift this up and put this back in place. space here. Come on. Just one side. Huh. I will explain that to you when I figure that out.
I'll put you on hold for a second.
All right, so what I had to do was I had to thread back the nut just a little bit more, but I got it now. All right, so I had to lift this up and physically push this back in with the belt kind of intact, all right? So now, should have enough slack to at least get it close on. So I found it's better to kind of have it in the bottom and then rotate your way around back up. So let me just snug this up a little bit so the flywheel doesn't keep moving. I really honestly don't know if that's going to make it any easier or not, but it'll keep this from pulling back on me. So now I'm just going to turn this and see if I can rotate that bad boy right back on. I like it going from bottom, that is for sure. Let's see, let's move this back a little bit so we don't make any rubbing noise. I'll put that there like that, get it out my way. I'll use this flywheel as a little leverage. All right, so I'm walking that back on. I guess you can walk it on top and around, but I found it easier, or at least it's just the way I do it. So since it's the way I do it, I guess it makes it easier for me. All right, so officially the belt's on. Let's kind of make sure it's a little more straighter than this. So we can just push it over just a little bit. I'm going to push it over here a little bit. I always like to let it run a couple times by hand just to make sure it's not going to walk. All right, good. One more time, then just kind of let the weight carry it. Okay, all right. So now we got to kind of tighten these things back. I got to tighten this nut back here. Got to tighten this up a little bit. So again, you're not going to be able to see exactly what I'm doing. I need myself a little bit of room here again. So I'm going in here and I'm going to be tightening this nut right here. I can do it by hand a little bit first. You do want to kind of pay attention to how this cable runs down and make sure that the flywheel is pretty close back to where it was originally. Won't matter too much if it's a ½ inch off, maybe a ¼ inch off. All right, so let's tighten this side back up. Looks like I already did that. Got it tighter than I thought on the beginning one. All right, one more test. Cover out the way. One more test. Just because ellipticals are a lot of work to take apart and you don't want to have to do it twice. Okay. That looks pretty good. So I believe I said this was a ½ inch. So we're going to take this back down. This feels kind of tight. It's a different part number. Maybe it's a little smaller, so this probably won't go back to 10 exposed threads. I'm gonna tighten this back to 6 or 7 at first. Oh yeah. So your belt doesn't need to be any tighter than difficult to turn. You should be able to go about halfway. You should never be able to turn it all the way over, and you don't want it so tight that you can't turn it and you don't have any play at all right? So I'm just gonna give this an extra turn here. I'm gonna crank this down here. Okay, one more test. A little further. Let the weight kind of carry it. Okay, so I did feel good about that. All right, so now I guess the procedures are put it back kind of the way we found it, huh? So the first thing we need to do is tighten that screw up there. Not too tight. This is pretty fragile, it breaks. So if you're using a drill, don't be like me and have it on drill, have it on 5 or 6. But because you only need that somewhat firm. A lot of these are broken, and you don't even get the option of putting that screw back in. All right, so next thing you got to do is we got to put on this silver disc. So we're going to snip that on here like this. Now this is very important, as you've seen in my other videos. You must put this keyway back or it just spins and doesn't grip, all right? So we're just gonna stick this back in here. Nice and smooth, I like that. Just gonna put this on right here. Then we're gonna take our number 6 Allen. Okay, when you get used to power tools, turning any kind of wrench by hand seems so laborious, just so incredible. It's taking forever. Plus, you can only turn it a little at a time. On the newer ones, 2015 and up, this is a triangle piece, and you can get enough room to get a socket in here. So let me show you something else. Just to show you that this doesn't really do that much. It doesn't really torque it on there. I'm going to tighten it up without it. So this does need to be fairly tight. For you guys with torque recommendations, my torque recommendation is tight. Doesn't come with one. So as you can see, that's perfectly tight on there. Which leads me to believe, I'm not really sure what this is for, but better safe than sorry. All right, so here's our half inch. We're still within view, yeah. Okay, so in theory, that is how you replace a sole elliptical drive belt. You got to replace all the covers and all that kind of good stuff. I won't take up all your time on that, because I'd say you should put it back in the same procedures that you took it apart with. And I have a ton of other videos that will explain all that kind of stuff in detail. I'm just going to put one screw in for now. And the one thing you don't need to see me do is put a bunch of screws back in. All right. So I'm really going to cut it out from here. This is going to go back to here. This is going to connect to the bottom. Don't forget about the little silver spacer that goes into here. But I got a better view of all this stuff on a bunch of videos, really. So if you want, visit my channel, Fitness Technology Services. And I have a lot on the elliptical and really on the sole treadmill too. But I want to say real quick, please subscribe. Thank you so much for viewing. I think I'm going to cut it out here because I don't think you want to watch me put it back together. Because I got it back together on a lot of other machines. I just wanted to show specifically the drive belt. All right. Thanks a lot. And again, thanks for viewing, and I'll see you next time.